Good morning. Welcome back to day 2. I hope you all enjoyed yesterday's sessions. It was a packed agenda throughout the day, and I must say when I finally, my head hit the pillow last night, I was ready for bed. It was a long day. We have an equally long and fact-filled and substance-filled day for you here today. And I'm going to recognize our first speaker. Before I do that, let me again thank all of you, our member firms, for your membership and your support throughout the year, and also to thank our sponsors that have made this event possible. I see Charles Lake sitting here in the front. Aflac has been a successful and long-term member of the IF. Charles is just one of many firms that have hosted this event. So thanks to our member firms and also to our sponsors. And with that, let's start the day off with a real bang. And we're going to do that by inviting my good friend Toshihide Endo, who's the commissioner for the FSA. We work very closely with the FSA. Every time I come to Tokyo, I find myself spending half a day camped out at the FSA's agency. And you and your colleagues, your predecessors, and those in your operations have always been incredibly generous with your time to listen to us and our thoughts and our input. Before I invite you up on stage, let me just quickly remind everyone of a really world-class bio. You've been at the FSA since 2002. You've held a number of important positions: Director General of the Supervisory Bureau, Deputy Director General of the Planning and Coordination Bureau, and then, of course, you spent some quality time in Washington at the IMF, working in the Asia Pacific office. So with that, Mr. Commissioner, thank you very much for coming. Please come on stage. We look forward to your comments.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your kind introduction, Mr. President. It is a pleasure to be here at the IIF Spring Membership Meetings and to have these opportunities to provide keynote remarks to the world-leading bankers. There are dynamic changes happening in Japan's economic and social structure, including a shrinking and aging population, a rising number of double-income households, more foreign workers, and technological innovations. If companies are to compete in this landscape, they must both quickly identify and flexibly respond to changing market trends and customer preferences. By doing so, they help ensure the long-term sustainability of their companies. Let me quote Konosuke Matsushita. He is the founder of Panasonic, who provided insights into the sustainability of private companies about 19 years ago. He says, companies might be legally owned by particular individuals or shareholders. Even so, our business is something entrusted to us by society as a whole. And he said like this: the mission of a company is something like providing tap water. What he meant by this is that even though water is indispensable for our daily lives, no one objects if a passerby drinks from a roadside tap. This is because the supply of water is plentiful and its price is low or even free. Matsushita believes that the mission of a manufacturer is to create material abundance by providing goods as plentiful and inexpensive as tap water. And through this, companies can eliminate poverty and make the world a better place. The mission of a company, just like society, changes with time. However, for executives, the question remains the same. What does society expect from their business, and what social contributions can they make? Posing this question is critical to achieve sustainable growth. As one of our priorities, we are working to lay a foundation for enhancing long-term corporate value In the midst of large changes in the business environment, it is important to achieve optimal capital flow in Japan and create a virtuous cycle where corporate value is enhanced and households are able to reap the benefits through efficient and attractive capital market. To do so, companies are expected to improve their governance through more constructive and engaged discussion with investors and to promote better business decision-makings. This would let companies achieve sustainable growth and enhance their long-term corporate value. As the FSA, we have placed a high priority on governance reforms, making good progress by establishing stewardship and corporate governance codes and updating these codes. Non-financial information, in addition to financial data, is increasingly being recognized as key for disclosure and assessing the sustainability of a company's growth. This includes management strategy, risk analysis, governance structure, as well as environmental and social factors. The FSA is striving for higher quality disclosures and is encouraging senior managers to clearly explain both how they take the business environment into account and how they set their priorities. We have also published good practice examples of non-financial disclosures to help guide companies in improving their practices. I will now turn to another form of non-financial information, ESG, or environmental, social, and governance factors. These are now used globally for assessing companies' sustainability. In Japan, Government Pension Investment Fund, or GPIF, has started to incorporate ESG consideration in its investments as a universal owner with a highly diversified and long-term portfolio. This includes stocks and securities and other asset classes. It is believed that this change has had a large impact on other investors' behavior. Investors are now not only looking at the company's financial records, but also using non-financial information to evaluate companies' future risks and opportunities. In response to shifting investors' preferences, many firms have started to view ESG matters as relevant to their long-term strategy for boosting corporate value. A recent survey suggests that the total amount of funds invested using as ESG approach increased by nearly 2.5-fold between 2012 and 2018 to just over $30 trillion. Now, in many companies, it is not only the corporate social responsibility teams, but many teams like investors relations, corporate planning, and finance that are jointly discussing these issues with senior management. The environment is one ESG matters where Japan's private sector has been proactive. The private sector led task force on climate-related financial disclosure, or TCFD, was established in 2015 by the Financial Stability Board. In 2017, it recommended a voluntary disclosure framework for climate-related risks. The recommendations reflect that the companies face physical risks from more severe weather events and transition risks from the regulatory shift towards a lower carbon economy. Some companies, on the other hand, will indeed benefit, particularly from those offering solutions for climate change mitigation and adaptation. While climate change is a long-term issue, they are always impacting business and their strategies. The voluntary TCFD framework provides a way for companies to assess and disclose the risks and opportunities from climate changes. I suppose that many companies here today have shown their support for the TCFD recommendation. Japan has the largest number of supporters in the world. As of last month, a total of 162 Japanese companies and organizations had formally expressed support. This is a sign of Japanese industry positive attitude towards better disclosure of climate-related risks. To go even further, on May 27th, a forum called the TCFD Consortium was established in Japan. It will serve as a platform for companies and investors to discuss climate-related disclosures in line with the TCFD recommendations. It is led by the private sector, including the Japanese Bankers Association and the Japan Business Federation. It is early days for companies voluntarily making effort to better disclose climate-related risks and opportunities. And they are learning by doing. Many companies and investors therefore said that they are looking for a venue where they can collectively assess and analyze disclosure issues. The consortium can serve this function, allowing for discussion and debates that will lead to better disclosure aligned with the TCFD recommendations. Later today, we will build on some of these themes at a session on sustainable finance, and where we will be joined by Hiro Mizuno, Chief Investor Officer of the GPIF. The FSA, in cooperation with other relevant ministers, will support such initiatives led by the private sector, including participants here today and the GPIF. I'll now wrap up. I hope that today's discussion with financial institutions, other experts, and all of you will highlight the ways in which we can work toward enhancing long-term corporate value and achieving sustainable economic growth. Thank you so much for listening.